Trust the Profits Breeders' Cup coverage is brought to you by PlayUp Racebook, the most horse player-friendly racebook in the industry. PlayUp Racebook is always your best bet.
Punch it, Chewy. Trust the Profits. It's the formula again and again. I'm burning the midnight oil wearing my King Buffalo. That's right. We're here talking about the Breeders' Cup Turf. Wow, this is one of the tougher races to handicap because the horses you got to leave out of this one to make up your top 3 or 4 or 5 are embarrassing to leave out. And you know there's going to be a shocker in here, right? Look at this deep slate we got going on here. Obviously, these are the possibles, probables, not the final field. We say it's as of 10:11. I updated this today, 10:25, again late at night. The race won't be until November 5th, 2022, which is still less than 2 weeks away. So we're getting closer to knowing exactly what that's going to be. It's a G1 at Keeneland, and it is 1.5 miles. As always, jockeys I note here are not necessarily the jockeys that will be racing on the horses, but let's get down to it. Who's number one here? We're starting with Mishrif, however you want to say it. 6 races this year, has yet to win, but he's also running in G1s. Hasn't run in a race lower than G1 since August of 2020. This is a horse that has stacked up a ton of money, a ton of wins in his lifetime. Just an outstanding horse, and this will probably be his last race if he does race in the Breeders' Cup Turf. Best race of the year, the Coral Eclipse, came in second place after being boxed in down the stretch. I mean, he probably should have won that race. He had a lot to overcome. Amazing that he came in second in that race. Also got second at York for the Juddmonte International behind Baid. I always struggle with the pronunciation on that name. Baid is looking like a real terror of a horse, though. So I think pretty much everyone is going to be losing to him. As I said before, likely the final race for Mischief before he is off to stud. Moving on to Warlike Goddess. Oof, this is a winner right here. Um, four races, 3 wins, 1 second place. In 12 total races, lifetime 9 wins, 1 second, 1 third. Very impressive mare here. Last win was a G1, Joe Hirsch at Belmont, 2 3/4 lengths ahead of Bye Bye Melvin and others, including Gufo. This was a 1.5 mile race, which is the distance that we're going to be running here for the Turf Cup, as you know. Only second place finish was by a neck to Virginia Joy at the Flower Bowl in Saratoga. Ran in Phillies and Mares Cup last year, coming in a close third, was less than a length behind the leader there. Won at this distance several times. Distance not an issue. I really like Warlike Goddess a lot. But moving on, we're talking about Bay Bridge next. 4 races, 2 wins, 1 second place. 6 wins lifetime in 10 races for Bay Bridge. Most recently won the Quipco Champion Stakes, previously finishing 5th in the Coral Eclipse behind Mishrif and behind Mischief and I can't recall the horse that finished first in that race. Sorry. Just started racing G1s in June of this year. A very young horse, very good up and coming horse. Has topped out so far 1.25 miles. Will have to go 1.5 miles to win this race. Rebels Romance coming up next here. Charlie Appleby trainer. Shout out to our boy Matthew DeSantis, big Charlie Appleby fan there. 6 races, 4 wins in 2022. But in total, 11 races, 8 wins lifetime. Pretty damn impressive. Last 2 races, G1 wins at Köln and Hoppengarten. Just throwing a little bit of a fake German accent there. 2 races before that were also wins. I mean, we got a four race streak going for Rebels Romance here. 2 big losses the year came in maiden. Obviously doesn't have to run there for this race. Has run at 1.25 miles, but not 1.5 miles yet for Rebels Romance. Curious to see how R&R handles that one. Nation's Pride, sticking with Charlie Appleby. 6 races, 4 wins, 9 races, 6 wins lifetime. Won by 6 lengths last time out at the G3 Jockey Club Derby at Belmont. The only blemish, currently 8th place finish in his first G1, but followed that up with a G2 and a G1, finishing in second and first at Belmont and Saratoga in those two races. Impressive start here for the young career of Nation's Pride. Broome, a little bit of an older horse. 2021 was a far better year for Broome. 4 wins, 4 second place finishes. As of this year, it's got a single win in the G2. The Hardwick Stakes has struggled to even hit the board in the G1s that he's raced in. Did finish second place in the turf in 2021. So there's that to be said for Broome. Katoden, I'm throwing this one up here. This is a favorite of mine. Personally scored a number of nice wins with Katoden this year. One trifecta in particular. But anyway, moving on off of that. 8 races, 5 wins in 2022. A G3 win has probably been his best win. The Big Ass Fans Dueling Grounds Derby at Kentucky Downs, going a mile and 5/16. Nice round number there. Won the Audubon Stakes at Churchill Downs in June, as many of us know. Ran mostly claiming races and non-graded stakes. That's how he filled up those 5 wins. But those 5 wins also, of his 6 lifetime wins, came in 2022. So he's been on a bit of a hot streak here, and I do like him as a closer as well. The rest. Let's go through the rest here. Stone Age struggled to win since May of this year, crossing him off the list. Gold Phoenix, 4-year-old, still working his way up to a mile and a half. Looked good at the Del Mar handicap, but not good enough for this depth of field, in my opinion. Highland Chief, 5 races, 2 wins. Seems to be getting better with a little bit more distance. Masterpiece, I like him 9 furlongs. Not sure about the 12. Bye Bye Melvin, same there. Mise en Scène, 3-year-old filly, hasn't shown anywhere near this type of class yet. So Mise en Scène going to cross off the list. Nautilus. It's an interesting one. This is the mystery horse, shipping from Brazil. Hasn't raced actually since winning the Brazil Stakes in June of this year. Has been working out, decent workout numbers. But what can you tell from that if a horse hasn't raced since June? And Thunderkiss, finally. Distance not an issue here, but I am a little bit worried about the class being an issue for Thunderclass. Again, someone's got to make the cut, and Thunderclass, you are at the bottom of my list right now. So moving on, what is the strategy here? I got no odds at this time. I'm purely going off of what I can scrounge up on the internet, what Odds Checkers is posting for some of these ponies. But right now, I do have Nation's Pride to win. I think in terms of the balance between odds you'll get with Nation's Pride and where he's been placing in the last few races he's run in, I really do like Nation's Pride here. I also like him to key with Rebels Romance, Warlike Goddess, Bay Bridge, and Katoden. There's a reason I put Katoden in there. Obviously, he's got a warm spot in my heart, but let me go through what I've got written below here. So recent history dictates that we should not be overlooking the horses that are shipping in for this race. We've had a lot of winners and a lot of seconds and thirds placing in from Great Britain and Ireland. So those should be definitely in your set. Look for a couple of horses that have had success running the distance. I like to look at the distance. As you noted here, I've been looking at the horses that go a mile and a half, really zeroing in on how they perform in those races. You can look at a mile and a quarter, but I do like to look at the longer distances to comp to this race. And then the other thing I like to look for, after you got a couple of those horses, I like to pair in the next 2 horses that have the best ground gaining numbers. So if you look at how much ground they gain down the stretch, look at the ones that make up the most ground. That's why I like Katoden here. That's why I placed him in a couple other spots and have done really well with him before. So I am taking a bit of a risk here, but if you looked in the past, Yabir, Tarnawa the year before, United, and Bricks and Mortar. Bricks and Mortar obviously would have been in that first category, horses having success at the distance. But the next one after that would have been United, and he got you a nice number in 2020. So those are the 3 horses that have been in the top 3 the past 3 years, having that sort of ground gaining metric that I like to look at. So anyway, that's all I have to say about the Breeders' Cup Turf today. Um, by all means, please hit subscribe. Also, look for that join button. There's a join button if you go to Trust the Profits. You can look into joining our membership, where we're going to be giving you our picks on Saturday, Friday, and Saturday, or maybe throughout the week. Go ahead and look into that. Feel free to join that. That would help us out a lot. And please keep watching our videos. We're having a lot of fun making them. That's all I got for you now. Have a good night.